Now in this lecture, let's talk a bit about coding. Although I have dedicated an entire section in which we'll create two different coding projects, one for data analysis and one for building a web application, a very basic one, using ChatGPT, where we won't write a single line of code. ChatGPT and Bard will write all the code for us. But here I just want to give you a quick snapshot of how good these large language models are when it comes to generating code by giving you one or two quick examples. So let's try a few things out. If you don't have any programming experience, don't worry, this is very basic and simple, and I will walk you through the steps that I'm doing. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, we are back on our passengers of the Titanic, where we got this information from for the second class of pound 13, equivalent to 1400 pounds in 2021. Now if you further scroll down in this page, you will see a data set here of first class passengers: name, age, hometown, board date, destination, lifeboat, body. What my ask from the large language models right now is that I want them to write me the code to be able to extract this entire table and save it as a data frame. So how do we go about doing that? So first we know that, okay, this is the specific link where this model resides, and it looks like it's the first table on the page. There might be more tables below it, but this looks like the first table on the page. Actually, this is a long scroll. Actually, this is the only table on the page. Okay, great. So my first prompt will be, you are an expert in coding in Python. I'm just providing basic context. You will write me code that I will execute in Google Colab. What is Google Colab? If you're not familiar with it, Google Colab is Google's application that allows you to write code directly in your browser without installing anything. So if you're new to Python or coding and you haven't done this before, you don't need to spend a lot of time in just learning how to set it up and installing the right softwares and libraries and environments. You can just open Google Colab. If you have a Gmail account, you have access to Colab already. Just go to File, create a new notebook, and you will end up at a screen like this where we will start coding. Okay, we will extract the table from the first table from the following Wikipedia link using data reader. Okay, why did I say data reader? Because that's a specific library within pandas that helps us extract information from a given URL, such as a Wikipedia link. Then I'm going to copy the Wikipedia link and provide it in the prompt as well. So I'll say link and then squirrely brackets, and then let's see what code it writes for us. And in the meantime, I'm going to copy this and run the exact same command in Bard. Actually, I'll reset chat so that there is no prior information that is impacting our work. Okay, so now the code is ready. Let me copy the code and see if it runs, and then we will spend some time understanding what it did. Okay, so it outputted the first table. So this is what the code, actually let's ask GPT to explain the code. Please explain the code. Sure, I'd be happy to explain the code. Import pandas PD. This line is importing the pandas library and giving it alias of PD. So pandas is a Python library that is specifically used for data analysis. That's what it does here. Here it assigns, it basically assigns the URL that we provided for the Wikipedia page as a new variable and calls it URL is equal to this link. Then it creates a table by calling in the pd.read function to read an HTML file. So pd.read function allows Python or pandas to read a specific file, and here because we're reading HTML, it uses read underscore HTML and then provides the URL link as the input. So this is where it reads it, and then it saves the first table as tables 0 because it's looking for, because I said in my instructions that I want the first table, so it's getting me the first table by assigning it 0 because in Python the index starts with 0 and not with 1. and this is probably what the code said. The answer said here, import pandas as PD. This line is importing pandas library, is a powerful data manipulation library. URL, here we are storing the URL of the Wikipedia page from which we want to extract the table. Table pd.read_html uses the read HTML function from pandas to read all the tables on the web page to the given URL. First table, since read HTML returns a list of tables, we need to select which table we want to use in Python. Lists are zero index since the first value starts with a 0 and not 1, meaning the first item in the list is at index 0, so it's going to extract table 0. Print first table, this will just print the first table out for us. Now, but when we go to the code, we don't see the output that we were looking for, right? This is not the table we are looking for. Why did this happen? Because probably there is some table here above this big table that is causing the problem, because we think this is the first table, but probably this is not the first table. There is something above it which is also a table. So what I'm going to do is, instead of searching for the table here, I will just go to my code and make it 1. I can also ask ChatGPT to do it for me actually. Let's get, actually not here, let's write it here. Let's get the second table instead of the first one. Okay, so what now it's going to do is, it's probably going to change the 0 to 1, because now we are asking for the second table instead of the first one. 0 refers to the first one, 1 will refer to the second one, and that's exactly what it did here. It made tables is 1. So if I just copy this part, that should suffice, and I will replace this. And now if I run the code, it still gives me the same error. What if I do 2? Oh, okay, so it's calling the wrong function. Actually, I have to copy the entire code. So let me copy the entire code here. The reason it failed was because it assigned the first table variable, whereas it was calling a different one than the one it was assigned. So now you have the data. I'm going to remove this print command so that it's visually more formatted better for us to view. And okay, so now here you see this is our table that we were looking for on the Wikipedia page. We have the name, the age, the hometown, board date, destination, lifeboat, and body. So, and it has 326 rows, 1 row for each passenger that was on the Titanic ship. So in this way, you see how we were able to generate the code that we wanted. It did not work in the first attempt. We had to sort a few things out, but by providing precise instructions, we were able to extract the code that we were looking for. Now let's go and see what Bard did. So what Bard did was, it took a very different approach than what we expected. So I specifically said that use the data reader library to do it. It did not go there. Instead, it went and used import request and beautiful soup to do the job, which is a web scraping library. So now what Bard is doing is, it's going through the HTML code of that specific URL and using the beautiful soup library, which is for web scraping, to extract the data out. Now let's see if it actually works. So I will go here, create a new notebook, and copy the code here. So it gave me a gibberish output that I cannot understand at all. And now it has extracted the information, but it's not in the right format, right? Because it's giving us a lot of data in HTML format. I'm going to try and manipulate my prompt to get a better answer out of it. We will extract the first table from the, we will extract the second table, because we know from GPT that it's the second table we're looking for, from the following we get using the data reader pandas library. Use the pd.read_html function. So I've specifically told it, okay, use this Python function to write me the code. Let's see if Bard can do the same job as GPT now. Because the path that it's taking of web scraping is too much. We have a much more optimized way of getting the data that we want. So we want to make sure that the code we're writing is optimized. Now it did the job that we were looking for, to give the same code as GPT, after I said I specifically want to use this function. So same thing, you see, import pandas, URL, table is equal to pd_read_html, and then the second table is survivors table, which is tables 1, print table, survivors table. Okay, so let's copy this and try this out now and see how this goes. And we have the data that we were looking for. So I had to provide a much more specific instruction to Bard versus ChatGPT, but both of them were able to do the job for us.